Welcome to the intro podcast of Joe Rogue Sports. We'll be talking tons of sports throughout all these podcasts. We'll dabble in a little bit of everything. So a little intro. I'm a Midwestern college kid just talking about sports. I like to talk about a lot of different sports. I like to watch a lot of different sports. I'm into a lot of things. I like different aspects of all sports. So this podcast will hit on a lot of things, hopefully. First thing we're going to hit on, though, is the NBA Finals. And exactly what happened. I mean, you look at the NBA Finals this year, it was the super team versus the God, and it turned out in the favor of the super team like a lot of people expected. If you look at what LeBron James brought to the table in that finals, I think it proved that he was still good, but I think it also proved that four All-Stars, four Olympic gold medalists is still going to win the game. I mean, the series was 4-1, obviously, in Golden State's favor. It was close for some of the games for the last three, but Golden State still had a lot of control. I mean, in almost every game, you just had the feeling that even if the Cavaliers were close, eventually, or that even if the Cavaliers were even leading, eventually Golden State was going to turn it up and they were going to end up blowing out the Cavaliers. They're going to end up getting hot and scoring 20 points to nothing like that because they could. And they could. It wasn't a doubt about it, and that's why they won the series. They just had everything they needed to beat the Cavaliers and to stop LeBron James. Their one biggest weakness going into the season was having an ISO player, having someone that could match up with LeBron, make him work on both ends. And you added that weakness in the form of Kevin Durant, MVP in this league, one of the best players that we've seen of the past decade. So, I mean, it was kind of a stacked deck, and it went in the Warriors' favors for sure. If you look at the stats, I mean, Kevin Durant led the Warriors in scoring. He was, I think, second in rebounding behind Draymond only. He was second in assists, I believe. The fact that he was up there for all those, he led the team in blocks. He brought leading a 73-win team the year before in finals. Blocks, taking second in assist and rebounding. That only makes them even better. And I know they didn't get 73 wins, but this team's better than the team last year, and that team did 73 wins. I mean, someday I'll talk about that too. I think KD's a big snake. I'm not a fan of that. I think he wasted a year at the NBA, and I cannot wait for him to leave Golden State. I hope he doesn't get addicted to this like cocaine or something and just keep coming back for more for the easy W's because it's just not fun to watch. Last year, the series last year, the Thunder Warriors series was one of the best series that I think I've watched last year. I was rooting for the Thunder all the way through, but it was just every game from the start to the beginning was so impactful. So the intensity was so up there. It was just flying back and forth, shooting left and right. It was just a fun series. And I mean, I will say that in the end of games, and I did see this earlier from Kevin Durant on the Warriors too, but it was Westbrook and him were just kind of doing ice and ball at the end of games, and I think that's why they lost that series. And earlier in the season, Durant tended to go back to the iso ball late in the fourth quarter of games, but he really improved his efficiency over the year and really stepped up his A game. And I'll give him that credit. He became a better player in the Warriors, and he became exactly what they needed to do to win. I mean, from the Warriors as a team standpoint, Curry, he finally had a good final series. I mean, not saying the last two were bad, but he looked like the player he's capable of being. And he averaged 8 rebounds per game. I mean, LeBron had his triple-double. Kevin Durant had his points. But an underrated stat line is Curry was 27, 8, and 10 pretty much. So 27 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. That's crazy good, especially for Curry, who's not known for being a great rebounder by any means at all. And he's not necessarily a great passer. He's not a great facilitator. So for him to do that, really stepped up and really made him I think that puts him in another category. And some people think he took a step back this year, but I mean with Kevin Durant you're going to. But I think it proved that he's still a great player and he's going to do whatever it takes for his team to win. You look at the Warriors' other players, Klay Thompson, kind of not really out there. There was in a few games, Klay kept him kind of in it. He would get a little hot, and I think it was a game 5. He started out game 5 pretty hot, and and pretty much led them the whole first quarter. He's still going to be the streaky player, I think, at times, especially being behind Durant and Curry. If he had his own team, I think he'd be way more consistent and he'd show his value way more than he does. A lot of people underrate his defense, and I think he's definitely a big key to the team. Like, their top four are all really key to the team. I think Klay Thompson would be I think he means more to a team than Kyrie Irving does for the Cavs, and I'll talk about that later on. But I think what he brings to shooting, he's a steady presence on defense. Like, his defense, I think, is a big thing. It's something I never really thought about for a while, but when you watch him, he gets after it, and it's really an underrated aspect of his game. As for Draymond Green, he's someone that I still am not a big fan of how he holds himself on the court sometimes. In the series too, he was kind of seemed like he gets so upset at times when, like, if he just keeps it level-headed, he's such a good player. Like, I respect his game so much. He's a player that I would love to have on my team, especially when you got a guy like Durant, Curry, and Thompson. Green is the perfect fourth option. He's the perfect third option for a lot of teams. He's another guy, like I said, like if he was on the Cavs, he'd be perfect with LeBron because of what he does. He passes the ball super well for a big man. And I always, coming out of college, when he came out of college, he was a player that I would have picked, where I felt high on because I liked that he, despite being undersized, he did a little bit of everything. I like players who do a little bit of everything. But the fact is, he shoots well, he defends at an elite level, probably Defensive Player of the Year, rebounds super well, especially for his size, and then, like I said, he passes really well. He can bring the ball up the court. He does everything that you need to. The only thing he doesn't do is score at a high level, which isn't needed on this team. Like, if he was the first option on a team, I don't think they'd be very good. He'd take away from his defense, from all his other factors, and he's not going to score as much as, like, people might think he would. Like, I don't think he'd be a 20 points per game scorer, and I don't think he should be. He plays the perfect off role for a team. As for the rest of the Warriors, I mean, Iguodala did his thing. Livingston stepped up. McCall in Game 5, I'll give him credit. When Kerr realized that, like, Ian Clark and some of those guys couldn't keep up with the other players, he put McCall on, and McCall really stepped up and had a good game. JaVale McGee did solid. Nothing special from McGee in the finals. I mean, he just kind of played here and there. Didn't really have a factor as much as he did in regular season. But a lot of people thought the Warriors bench would take a step back this year, and I mean, they did somewhat, but it's still a solid bench. A lot of veterans. They got nice easy contracts on Zaza, Livingston, Iguodala, and West, and all them. I mean, not easy contract on Iguodala, but the Livingston, West, Pachulia, all are going to come back, and they'll probably come back this next year too, almost just for those veteran ring-chasing players. And that gives you a nice solid bench. You got Clark, McCaw, and McGee, all somewhat young guys with McGee, but they all have potential, and they all played really well. They played outside of their what most people projected them to be. So, I mean, the Warriors, they played their game, and it was tough for the Cavaliers to do. They weren't going to be able to. Cavaliers were going to have to play their A game the whole series, and they did for a lot of the games, and just it still wasn't close. It's just not fair to the NBA by any means for what the Warriors are doing here. Now, as for the Cavaliers, like I said, LeBron, he averaged a triple-double. He is far and away best player on the court. I don't know why anyone would think that the throne's being passed over to KD. He's doing this alone out there almost at times, it seems like. It just, like, he has to take over games, and he gets better every year. He's at age 32. I can't talk about him enough. I'll talk some other time about the GOAT discussion, but I really think that LeBron's up there in the discussion, no doubt, and it's crazy. From what I've seen, I think he's a heck of a player. Now, his second best player, Kyrie Irving, when he's on, and it is fun to watch. I do love watching Kyrie when he's on, but that isn't all the time. And when he isn't on, that's when he starts taking away from his team. There's actually a stat, and it's about the effect of defensive win shares added and offensive win shares added, and I believe he was on the negative for offensive win shares added, which I thought was crazy because he's known there for scoring. And he does score well, but there's times where he almost forces, and his efficiency kind of lacks. But he had a really good series. I mean, he averaged like 30 points per game. He kept them in. Game 3, was it? I think Game 3 is the one where he really kept them in there. And like he, he became a second option kind of for LeBron. Although I wish Kyrie would. He hasn't done it in his career yet, but I would really like him to become a facilitator. I think with his handles, with how he gets to the rim, he could set up a lot of people. And that Cavaliers team has shooters on it. I think he could help them out a lot. Because there's times, I mean, he goes to the rim 1-on-4 and he makes it. And that is crazy. There's also times where he misses doing that, where he got an open Kyle Korver, open Kevin Love out there. Which we'll talk about later. Maybe it's not best to pass to Kyle Korver. But the other big player on the Cavaliers, Kevin Love, he started off the series pretty well. I mean, the games they lost, he was doing pretty solid. But then in the games where Cavaliers were contending and they needed him to step up, he wasn't really there, except for game, was it 5? Or I think it was game 3. Game 3 is the game where he really rebounded well despite not doing much. And he affected the game without his scoring, which is nice to see. But he needs to step up. He's been such a disappointment for the Cavs, I feel like, since they traded for him. I don't know if they regret trading Wiggins because of it, but you really wish you could have got more for Wiggins and the number 1 overall pick than what they did in Kevin Love, where he's been for the Cavs. I mean, he shot 40% field goal percentage for the series as a big man. That's not good at all. When you got a guy like LeBron, I mean, I don't want to compare to LeBron, but LeBron's as a wing player shooting 57%, 58%, 60%. That's pretty crazy. I want to say like Love was one of the worst shooters on the team in that series, and he's not supposed to be. He's supposed to step up and make those shots. Now, J.R. Smith, let's not have Game 5 where I just forget that he was almost non-existent for part of the series at times. And in Game 5, he took some bad shots, but it's crazy when he's on. When he's on a player like Kyrie where he can't miss. And he's a good option, but like there's times where I feel like he forces or he just seems like he's off and he's not where he should be in defense or what he needs to do in offense to open up for LeBron, etc. And the Cavs are in a tough situation right now with their cap and everything, so if they can move JR for a better fit, I'd be down for it, but it really comes down to fit. You can't force anything. I don't know if they can't even take a risk right now because JR is still a player that can help a team win, without a doubt. As for the rest, Richard Jefferson played solid, nothing special. I mean, he's just a good vet. Tristan Thompson needed to rebound way better. He averaged like 6 rebounds per game. And for playing over 20 minutes, he needed to do better because he's there to rebound, and that's how he affects the game. And he killed the Warriors last year rebounding, and this year he couldn't do it. And I don't know, I mean, I know Zaza was a pretty good big man with rebounding, but Thompson needed to do better when he got on the floor. I mean, he got rebounded by Curry. And I'm not saying Curry's a bad player, but Curry's not a good rebounder. And Thompson is paid to rebound, and he's paid quite handsomely, too. As for the last pair I want to talk about on the, well, I'll talk about 2 more. Number 1, Darren Williams. He sucked. He sucked so bad. And he sucked ever since coming to the Cavs, really. He had a little bit where he played well, but he's been so bad in the Cavs. He's been just, he wasn't the player LeBron looked for. He wasn't the player he was in the Mavs. And I don't know what it was or why, but if he got stepped up, that could have helped a little bit. But LeBron and Kyrie had to take the brunt of the load. And then Kyle Korver. He's a player, in the series he shot 31% from 3. 31% from one of the best shooters of all time, in my opinion. With the guy getting passes from LeBron, being set up wide open. And that's one of the games we'll talk about later. But he needed to hit his shots in order for them to win. And he didn't do that at all. He did not do his job on what he was traded for them to do. I'm not saying he lost him the series, but him hitting shots could have really helped a lot. And I'll talk about that later too. But overall, I mean, the Warriors, their players they all played well. None of them really didn't play well. I'll say Klay Thompson played a little bit below his standards. He still played well defensively. Whereas the Cavs on the other side, I mean, I think LeBron played well. I think Kyrie played well to an extent, at least for about half the games. And then the rest kind of, I mean, the third best player who played, I think, above, or like, if we're playing players to around their average, the only 3 on the Cavs that really like maybe played above it were LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and I would say Richard Jefferson. I think the rest played below their standards. And some played way below, like Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, and Kyle Korver all played way below their standards. Now, how could the series have been any different? The one way I want to look at it is if Game 3, if Kyle Korver hits that shot, if LeBron stops KD's three, and they win, I think a 2-2 series would be crazy. I think too, if the Cavs win Game 5, they're gonna have the momentum going into the series because you have Golden State team that is they know 3-1. No one's gonna let them forget 3-1, and that's gonna be in the back of their mind, thinking about it the whole time. I think that's that if the Cavaliers win Game 5 and go down 3-2, I think they would have the momentum. And that's not saying they'd win the series because it's gonna be tough to beat Golden State 4 games in a row. But I think Game 6 in Cleveland would be somewhat easy, but I think Game 7 could have been Golden State still, even if they blow 3 in a row. Now, if the Cavaliers go pull out Game 3, like I said, with that shot with Korver and LeBron stopping them, and it's a 2-2 series, that would be I would be scared from the Warriors because LeBron was really taking over, and I think that the Cavs were to win Game 5 after that, or even Game 6, I would take the Cavs in that series. I really do. And it's kind of crazy because teams are nowhere close in comparison with talent. But LeBron just has a factor, and he gets in your head, and you think about him all the time. I feel like if you're playing against him, LeBron's going off, you got the better team, and your series is tied 2-2. You got a little LeBron effect. You're a little worried about him that whole time, without a doubt. So, I think it comes down to is the series came down to KD. KD stepped up and he won them that series. I don't know if the Warriors would beat the Cavs without him. My next topic is going to be after the finals, a little trash talk between Draymond and LeBron. A lot of people are hyping up this trash talk. I don't really think it's that much trash talk. Draymond had that shirt. I give him credit. He brought back the shirt. I think he even called himself petty for it. But LeBron wore the Ultimate Warrior shirt the year before. Draymond wears a Quickie shirt based on Quicken Loans and how fast the Warriors beat the Cavs. And I thought I give him credit. It was a funny shirt. And he deserved to, or not necessarily deserved to wear it, but they won the series, so he could wear it. And then LeBron fired back with on the day of the parade, he has some video of him with his shaved head now. He's going full out if he's shaving his head. The final form is my guess. And I don't know if the Warriors took it as a diss that he unleashed this video on the day of the finals. But LeBron fired back saying we made LeBron go bald. Or, I don't know if she came first. But Draymond said they made LeBron go bald. And LeBron said something about Draymond's shirt with Quickie saying that's what she said. Now, Michael Scott reference and all, I didn't really think it was a diss by any means, but I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest. Just the random comment, I didn't think it was a diss. I'm like, well, why is he? I don't know if he meant to be a diss. I thought it was a pretty shitty diss if he did, but I thought it was pretty funny, to be honest. A little Michael Scott reference just because of that. And Draymond says we're making him go bald, and that's where. And Draymond also said too that LeBron made super teams, which another topic we'll get at some time. I disagree with that, but kind of slight this there. But I think LeBron finished it off, and he had the best one of all, where he said, "You guys just won the finals. You're having your parade, and you're still talking about me. I'm still in your head." And that's something too. I think LeBron will always be in the world. He's in everyone's head, really, in the league, and he knows it. And I think he's going to rebound from this loss this year. And I don't know if they'll win it next year, but it's fun seeing a little trash talk. And I'm getting at it. It wasn't, but 95% of it wasn't trash talk. Maybe the Quickie shirt trash talk, maybe. Draymond was full trash talk. I don't know LeBron's. That's what she said joke was in that video at first. I don't think it was much. But LeBron he knows he's in their head. I think they know they're in LeBron's head, and it's going to be a fun battle. I'm expecting round 4 this next year. So we'll see where that goes. My next topic is going to be soccer or football. I'm a big USMNT fan. I love the national team. I love the women's national team too. And I watch a lot of their matches. So this week was the big El Clasico of Mexico versus United States. As much as I like to think U.S. should be the favorite in this match, they aren't. Mexico's by far better. They have a better soccer team, and U.S. is behind in soccer around the world, which we shouldn't be. We should be dominating everything. But we go up early in the match, and we score a goal 6 minutes in. I had a bold prediction that say that we're going to score 5 minutes in as a joke, and we scored 6 minutes in. And they end up scoring another goal 23 minutes in, and then the game ends up being a draw at 1-1. And my take from it is I'm happy with the draw. And I know some people don't watch soccer, might not be happy with it, kind of mad, but what you don't realize is a draw for Mexico United States is like a draw if the Cavaliers tied up Golden State 3-3. They'd be happy being 3-3. US and T should be happy being 1-1. And I mean, that puts us in the World Cup qualifying standings. That puts us in third, point ahead of Panama. We're in our driver's seat now. We can be sitting pretty. As for the game in general, Bruce Arena, it was kind of a weird lineup. I wasn't a fan of the lineup that he brought in. I mean, like, he brought in, like, you got Tim Ream, you had Bobby Wood, and Paul Ariel were my kind of three kind of iffy picks in there. I mean, like, I can see getting young guys talent, but in El Clasico, I was kind of worried. And I can see the Wood. I'm not saying Wood is a bad player by any means, but in a big El Clasico, doing Josie and Clint up there instead of Wood, I think would be smarter. And I mean, like, Josie fit Klinsman's system better, maybe. I can say that because I think Josie was not the perfect, but of all our strikers, he was probably the best of them in Klinsman's system. And we started Guzan in the goalie, which I was kind of like, ooh, that's iffy. I mean, I'll be Howard till the day we die, because Howard has been by far the best goalie I've ever seen for the U.S. As for the game in general, I mean, U.S. was the second-tier team. Mexico had like 75% possession for most of the game, and you could tell watching the game. It just U.S. never really had many chances. Like, it was Mexico shooting 24/7, and we didn't get many chances. And it's been like that for the past 4 years, where U.S. is on the back burner, and they're playing defense the whole time, which I'm okay with it in certain times, but it's so tough to watch because you're worried 24/7. You're on your feet 24/7, just worried you're going to score or they're going to score. So, I mean, it was tough. We did get 7 corners compared to their 9, which I thought our attacks, when we did attack, were aggressive and they were doing the right thing. But I just think that Arenas needs to find a way where we can be more aggressive and we can. I mean, like, the back line, we were playing defensive for the past 2 games against Trinidad and Tobago. We played defensive too. So I don't know. We came out the draw, so I'll be happy. But I think it was a lucky draw after, like, the way the game went on. As for some of the players, I'm a big DeMarcus Beasley fan. He is something that I've always liked. I think he's smart. He's a little speedy, but he's always been a smart defender. And the goal was scored on him, but it wasn't his fault. He drove his guy inside. They didn't stop him. Pulisic played pretty well. I was pretty happy with his performance. He's definitely got a bright spot and he's got a lot of potential. I mean, everyone knows that, obviously, but it was something that I really liked. I was surprised that Fabian Johnson didn't get to play. I thought he was pretty good against Trinidad and Tobago. I like the substitution bringing in Nagby. I like what he brings to the table as well. I also liked the general, like, bringing in Altidore late. I was kind of hoping Dempsey would get in, because I think that fresh legs on Dempsey could really take advantage of not as fresh legs on the Mexico defense. But he didn't even get in. I mean, I think our backline, we really got some work there. We're still figuring it out come more qualifying time, and hopefully we do, but it's really shaky lineup right now. There's a few guys who have potential, but, like, Brooks has been really struggling. Yedlin's hot and cold. I mean, there's certain things he does well. Like, he gets in position to cross well, but he doesn't cross very well at times, and that's something he needs to work on. And just in general, the team, they got quite a ways to go if they want to contend, which unfortunately kind of sucks, but Pulisic's a good bright spot, and I'm happy to see him there for sure. I mean, if you look at this year, it's been okay here. I mean, in 2017, I believe the team's undefeated so far in 2017, which is nice. But there's a lot of times where USA will get your hopes up in soccer and then we'll crush them with some tough losses. But I'm happy they're drawing El Clasico. I hope everyone else is because it puts us. A loss could have hurt us a lot, but a draw gives us a point, keeps us going. It'd been nice to get a win. If we got a win, that would have been huge. But I say we take this and use this to our advantage and keep going and moving forward for the team for sure. And the next topic here we're going to talk about is the big Mayweather-McGregor fight. Now, for the longest time, I never thought this would actually happen. I did not think Mayweather and McGregor would actually be fighting for sure. I just didn't like the idea of it. For both points, I can see why they're doing it, which I'll talk about. I think Mayweather's doing it to. He's the favorite. I think he knows he can win. I think he knows he will, and I think he'll shut up McGregor, and it kind of ends the MMA boxing fight. Maybe I won't say it ends it, but it puts a point in boxing's favor. McGregor's doing it for that purse, man. They're supposed to both get over like 100+ million, and McGregor knows he fights for money, And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but he talks the talk because he knows it'll get him paid, and that's nothing wrong with that. That's what you gotta do if you're a fighter. That's what you gotta do because you're throwing your body on the line. You might as well get paid as much as you can for it. I don't care how much smack you talk or how bad you look in the public. I'll talk that smack if I have to get my money. I think the fight could really hurt boxing, especially if McGregor wins. Boxing's done for. It's dead to the waters. Why would anyone watch boxing when MMA fighters can just walk in there and take out your best pound for pound fighter of all time, or not all time, but of his generation? And especially when it comes to Mayweather, because he is 49-0, he hasn't lost. He played such a smart game. It would just look bad for the sport. My predictions, I think Mayweather's going to win. I would love to see McGregor win, just to see the aftermath of it. And because I think if he wins, it's a more fun fight. Because Mayweather plays the game, he doesn't take punches, he's going to lose, and he blocks everything else. He knows he's not going to knock someone out. If you watch any of his last fights, he doesn't go for knockouts. He goes for the decision, and then he wins it like that. McGregor, on the other hand, he's got to go for the knockout. I feel like because he's not going to win a decision. And maybe if you can get some good punches in, I mean, he's going to bully his way in there. I feel like McGregor's not going to give up anything easy, and when he goes in for those big punches, I think Mayweather's just going to come out there and do a few jabs, get a few punches in himself. So McGregor's going to be aggressive, and Mayweather's going to play his game. I don't think McGregor can beat Mayweather playing defensive. As for the betting side, it's pretty crazy. I think ESPN reported the first 144 bets, 140 for McGregor, which makes sense because that's a huge payout if he does win. It might not be smart to do that because Mayweather, I think, is a huge favorite, like as stated with the bets, but it's pretty crazy. And it'll be fun to see how much bets come in for this because this is going to be a fun fight and see how many people watch this because they should make a lot of money. I know I'll watch it for sure. And I mean, I don't know. I'm expecting it to be a boring match where Mayweather does his thing and gets paid doing it. But they're both going to make their money, and I think that's what they both want. I mean, I think that's what McGregor wants. Mayweather wants his money too, but McGregor, he's here for the money. He doesn't care. If his career ends, if he never wins or gets to fight MMA again, he made $100 million off it. Who cares? He's set. This isn't. I don't care if people say it's a pride thing or not. He's here to make money, and that's what he does. Next topic up here is going to be the 76ers and Celtics trade. Am I a fan of the trade? For which team? We'll see. But I'll talk about the trade first. So the Celtics, they had the first overall pick this year from Brooklyn via trade. The 76ers had the third overall pick. The presumed number one overall pick in this year's draft is Markelle Fultz by a mile. So apparently by a mile. I disagree with it. I'll talk about it a little bit later. But the rumor is that the 76ers traded the number 3 and a future first for the number 1. Danny Ainge, the GM of the Celtics, has gotten shit on for this. I mean, I don't know if it's warranted, but like it's a huge risk. it's huge for the Celtics. The pick, so he's trading the number 1 for the number 3. The 2018 Lakers first protected 1 and then 6 through 30. So if the pick falls in the 2 through 5 range, the Celtics get it. If the pick, and then if it doesn't, it turns into the Sacramento Kings 2019 unprotected, which he's getting 2 lottery picks pretty much essentially. I don't think the Kings are going to be a playoff team come 2019, and if he doesn't get that pick, that means he's got a top 5 pick. So I think it's pretty crazy. I mean, he's getting the 3. It's rumored they want Josh Jackson or Jason Tatum. So if they want their guy, why not? And I think this too, drafting Fultz is going to make you make a decision with IT, Isaiah Thomas. And if you don't draft him, you're a lock to sign him. And maybe they want to go that way. They don't want to disrespect IT. And they want to also, it's rumored it's going to open up some cap room too to go after Gordon Hayward. So that'll be fun to see, but we'll have to look on that. As for I like it for the Celtics. I'm not a big fan of Fultz, and that's why. I can see why you'd want the number 1, but like a guy who's the number 1 overall pick can only win 6 games in college basketball. When a guy like, I don't know, like, let's give you an example. There's other players. I know people say Washington's team is bad, but come on, like, you put Ben Simmons even won more games than that in LSU, and LSU is a worse program than what Washington did. So I don't know. That's my take. I like the trade for both teams. So Philly's gonna have a nice core for sure with Fultz, especially if he turns out. I'm not saying he's gonna be a bad pick. The Celtics are rumored to look at 2 guys, not Lonzo Ball, funnily enough, but if they get one of those 2 guys and they're happy with their team, I mean, I like the idea of having Jaylen Brown, who was third overall pick the year before, and then Josh Jackson or Jason Tatum, who are 2 wing players. I mean, you're going to need wing players to beat the Warriors and the Cavs in the future here, and they're doing that. And then they're also going to have 2 lottery picks in the next 2 years with either the Lakers or Kings pick, and then also the Nets pick they get next year too. So it's a win-win for them, I think, honestly. And then, I mean, like I said, Fultz, I don't know if he's going to turn out. I think it's a win for the Celtics, and I shouldn't say it's a win-win, because if they do miss their pick, it's not going to look pretty. And then another last topic here, the U.S. Open just finished today. It was I think it was a good U.S. Open. I know a lot of people were kind of hating on it. A lot of people said the course wasn't hard enough, but today I think proved it was, especially when the wind was up there. People are mad that there's just so many. Like they like when it's with the course when it's closer to par, whereas you look at the winner today tied the record for lowest score in the U.S. Open. And that winner, Brooks Koepka, he shot a 67 last day and won it by 4 shots. He crushed it, and that's how he golfs too. He crushed that ball. He was compared to, I believe, Brian Harman, he was contending with most of the day. Harman doesn't drive nearly as far as Koepka, and I don't know if that played a factor there or not, but Koepka he shot lights out today, and he deserved that W. You win by 4 shots, you're gonna win the U.S. Open when you're up there contending. All right. Okay, when you win by 4 shots, of course you can win the U.S. Open, but when you win by 4 shots, you prove that you deserve to win. I mean, he had the second best, I think, Sunday, only behind Hideki Matsuyama, who took second, who had a really good day too. He came out of nowhere and shot really well. And if he wouldn't have done so bad on on Thursday, Matsuyama could have been contending too. But I mean, the things to look at is Harman, who's up there, kind of choked at them. You could kind of tell the course got to some people, but the one person who didn't get to was Koepka. Koepka, throughout the whole day, he looked calm and steady. He looked fine. He was no super emotion until at the end when he's like, "Yeah, I won it." And I mean, like you look at like Harman, Jordan Spieth. There's a few guys where it's just like you can physically see that they're upset on certain ones or that they were just off. Another guy too, Ricky Fowler. He went in there as kind of the favorite. And he shot really well on Thursday and Saturday, but he was just off today, and it seemed like he I don't want to say he gave up, but it seemed like he just wasn't feeling it, wasn't ready to win this major, and kind of I mean like I don't put myself in their shoes, but he just seemed off, and I mean he was the only real big name up there I think really competing for a while. There's some guys too. You look at like where was Rory McIlroy, etc. Like I mean, a lot of big names got cut early, and it was a lot of people complain that this U.S. Open was easy on the course, but you look at if it was easy, how come those big names aren't up there contending? And I don't know, it was I thought it was good. I enjoyed watching today. It was fun. Even watching Steve Stricker go out in his home state and do pretty well. That was fun to see the crowd. I mean, the crowd was nice. There was some really nice shots. Some of their shots always amaze me. But I mean, I enjoyed it. It was especially the wind. It really played another factor today, and it was kind of fun to watch those balls go all over the place and how they rolled on these hills. And I like the course. Aaron Hills, it was hilly. There was a shot the one time when one of the reporters like rolled a small little basketball to prove it, and it rolled all the way from the left side of the fairway to the right side because of how much the slope is. And then I just want to give one final shout out in the U.S. Open to Joe Buck for getting the wrong girlfriend a Klopka when he had a new one. So that's gotta be shout out to him for getting that right. Am I right? Klopka, the lady slayer, apparently. And my last but not least subject, just a quick NASCAR race update. I watched the last 10 laps of the Michigan NASCAR race. Kyle Larson pulled off a big W over my boy Chase Elliott. It wasn't big, but they had like a 5-lap restart because around lap 10 when they restarted, there was a wreck right away. Danica went out. She hasn't had any luck this year at all, by any means. But Larson pulled it off. He's been probably the driver to beat this year for sure, especially on longer tracks like this. Chase is going to catch him. And he had a good restart. Larson did. Chase pulled off a nice move, but because of the restart before, he was a little bit too far behind. It was kind of crazy watching those restarts at the end. The outside line looked way better. The inside line was super loose. And it was a good race. It was a lot of people dropped back and they couldn't hold the inside line. So Larson looks like the driver to beat this year. Some drivers are getting their speed back. Looks like Elliott, Logano are getting their speed back. Blaney was up there before he messed up a little bit. And it'll be fun to see. Definitely excited to watch more races this year. And I didn't watch the full race today because of the U.S. Open, obviously, priority. But it was good to see. And my parting thoughts is the NBA draft is this week. I think it's going to be one of the better NBA drafts we've ever had in terms of I think it's going to be exciting. You look at a lot of mocks, people are all over the place. Even with the top pick, you don't know who's going. Usually it's 1-2. You know the top 2 people, and then it can be kind of off. And this year you don't know who's the top one. And even when the Celtics were rumored to like Josh Jackson at number 1, which is kind of crazy with how people rate defaults, but I think it'll be a fun draft. I'm excited to watch some more baseball this week. No real topics for baseball I didn't have on this podcast, but we'll see. And that'll be it. Leave some comments, leave some likes, or some subscribes. Let me know what you think, and give me some more topics to talk about. I'm willing to talk about anything. This one was kind of generic for the first podcast, but I'm really to get in depth and talk some stats, talk some hot topics. I love to debate, and I'm willing to do anything. So just hit me up. Thanks for listening. Very much appreciate it.